Hello and welcome to Soul Symbols. My name is Shelley. I'm a writer, an astrologer, and a card reader, and I'd like to welcome you to my channel. Today is Saturday, and it is the weekly energy card reading. What I do is every Saturday I hold a reading where you, the viewer, get to choose from one of 3 tarot decks. After you've chosen your tarot deck, I go through and do a spread of cards to get an idea of what the general energies will be for the next 7 days. This is what we call a universal reading. If you come across this reading at any other time other than the second week in February, you can absolutely still resonate with the messages. Otherwise, if you feel like the message isn't speaking to you, you could always choose a different deck, or it's possible that there may just not be any energies for you this week. The timestamps are always in the description box below, so if you want to skip over the introduction and go straight to your reading, you are welcome to do so. And I am very grateful if you like the content on my channel, if you would do me the honor of commenting, and subscribing. I would love to have you follow my channel. Now, today we are going to go ahead and we're going to keep our Valentine's Day tablecloth. Yesterday I did a special reading of who secretly wants to be your Valentine. And in that reading, I told you about how I got my plaid tablecloth. I really just thought it was good. It was simple, right? I didn't want to do, any crazy hearts or flowers or, anything wild. I did go ahead and keep my my Valentine and my what it is these are the two. There's a card in Lenormand called the Heart, and I went ahead and I pulled out my hearts from my Lenormand deck, and I just think they're so positive. And then I did. For fun, I like to sew, and I also like to do paper crafts. And what I did is I went ahead and I made Valentines. They're much bigger Valentines than this one. This is one of the little ones. But I made a bunch of Valentines for all of my coworkers. So I went ahead and kept one for myself. It's a little heart, but it's a velvet one. And I always believe that you should pet your cards. Your cards should always be pettable, except if you're reading tarot and oracle. So the 3 decks that we have today to get started is, I went with a few that we haven't used in a while, and I felt very drawn to use. We have the Linestrider Tarot, which is a very watercolor and ink type of deck by Siolo Thompson. In the middle, we have the Tattoo Tarot, Inked in Intuition by McMahon, if I'm saying her name right. And then the 3rd deck is a vintage deck, which is the Tarot of Jane Austen. And it's published by Lo Scarabo. All of the names and the authors are in the description box below. To clarify your read, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use another vintage deck called the Nova Oracle Cards. And what this is like a 1970s deck that has really, really fun images. The cool thing about this deck is that it has images in both kind of burgundy. It's hard to see in the light here, but it's the same image, but it has one in burgundy and one in black and white. And what it is the black and white version is the positive rendition of the card, and the burgundy is almost kind of like a little bit of a negative, not negative in a bad sense, but it just kind of gives you the cautionary. It's almost like reading a card in reverse, but the messages are always positive, and I just think they help clarify really, really well. So I'm going to go ahead and use them as a clarifier today. If you got a chance to watch the 31 Days of Tarot, which was a video blog sprint that was hosted throughout January. I have it listed as a playlist here on my channel if you want to check out any of the videos. But the Nova Oracle cards were listed as one of my underrated decks, and it is a great deck. I really enjoy using it. But I'm going to go ahead and let's get the show on the road. I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to do a freeze frame and let you choose your card. If you want more time, please go ahead and pause the video if you need a little bit more time. I do ask that you just kind of choose from your intuition, from whatever pile your gut says is the right one. And I'll see you in a minute. Okay, we're back. I'm so excited to actually use these decks. I was really drawn to use the Tattoo Tarot today, and try saying that 3 times fast. Oh, speaking of communication, we are coming up. And again, this reading is for the next 7 days. It's going to be from, February 16th through to I can do the math, 23rd. Sorry, guys. We are coming up on a Mercury retrograde, by the way, in Pisces. So, okay, enough blabber. Deck number 1, the Linestrider Tarot. What is your energy for the next 7 days? Ooh, oh, you saw that, right? That just flipped. That did like a cartwheel right off the top. Ooh, ask and you shall receive, right? Okay, and you see this? This is sticking out. I'm going to go with that, middle of the week. And deck number 1, can you see? Okay, this one's kind of flipping, and can I get a clarification, please? If you can please clarify the 3 of Wands. Well, yeah, let me try a little bit more. Sorry, guys, I feel like I'm manhandling you here. Okay, clarification for the 3 of Wands, please. 6 of Swords really wants to come out, so we'll go with it. All right, and let's go ahead and let's get an overall energy for the week. Ooh, okay, same thing happened in there. You see that, right? That is your card. Ooh, that was kind of poking out a minute ago, guys. Again, I am also going to look to see, sometimes we have what I call a common denominator card. It might be the same card, the same, we might see the same card come out in all 3 different decks. In that case, it might be kind of the overall energy of the collective. I know that sounds really new age and woo-woo, but believe it or not, us as humans, we really do kind of have a think tank of energy, and sometimes there might be an overarching theme that's affecting us all. So, nothing to be scared of, just something that's, very, very and, part of the scheme of things. But the beginning of the week, we got the 2 of Pentacles. And I really kind of like this guy. This guy has a wild goatee. I don't know if you're a masculine watching this, I don't know if maybe you're growing a beard or working on that beard, but this guy has some good hair, right? Good hair. But what it is he's kind of, I really like the kind of depiction of this because he is still juggling the 2 coins, and you see he's holding on to one and throwing the other in the air. Typically in the background there is water that's going up and down. You see ships going up and down. But what I really love about the image in this card is the fact that he's on his tiptoes. Like, it's almost like he's, it almost makes me think, it makes me think of that scene. You know how it's not a tradition, but you've ever seen those daredevils who would walk over hot coals? It kind of makes me think of that. He's kind of like, like foot up, foot down. So I think in the beginning of the week, you're really going to be juggling something. It really does seem like 2 fiscal responsibilities. Maybe you're managing money, but the one thing about this card is that it can also mean that you're feeling a lot of up and down when it comes to your finances. Maybe you have 2 responsibilities that you need to adhere to, and maybe it kind of feels like, it always gives me a sense of plate spinning, meaning that it's almost like you're getting one responsibility good, like you're paying one thing down, and then the other one starts to rear up and need attention. And it's keeping you on your toes is what it's doing. It's making you walk over hot coals, right? I'm getting that image. Of walking over hot coals. I almost feel like it's not that the 2 responsibilities are bad, but I think what it is that you're aware of both responsibilities, but you're getting really tired of having to balance them, right? It's becoming too much for you to have to juggle them both. And I think it is putting you in a little bit of emotional up and down. Like, I'm not getting a resentful vibe, but I'm definitely getting like I can't do this much longer kind of feeling. I'm tired of like, okay, this is up and then that one's down, and this one's up and that one's down. You're getting like, okay, one of these have to, I'm not walking over these coals anymore. I'm not tiptoeing around this anymore. And what kind of makes me say that is because by the middle of the week, you got the Seven of Swords. And the Seven of Swords is that card that nobody really likes to get. We actually got the Seven of the Swords in the middle pile, I think, last week. I think it was the Slow Tarot, if I'm remembering it right. And you kind of got it in the same position too. What you have is you have somebody who really in this deck, he looks like a pirate, right? He looks like a thief, right? And you see what looks like a warrior's camp or like something in the middle of the war. And you see him kind of sneaking off with what looks like, the weapons that, don't belong to him, right? So we always refer, tarot readers refer to the Seven of Swords as the sneaky Pete card. He is known as the thief, but I don't want you to take that personally. What it basically means is that you can see that he's clearly taking resources while everybody else is distracted, right? Everyone's preoccupied and he's like, I'm gonna go ahead, and while they're not looking, I'm going to go ahead and take these swords. And a lot of times this card does mean kind of a gamble. There's times that, you almost, it isn't that you're daring to get caught, but you kind of know that there's a situation where you can kind of sneak away, or there's an opportunity for you to kind of, and it is a little bit of a getting away with something card, but I don't want you to take this personally. I'm not telling you that you're a thief or anything like that. The other thing that I want to just kind of bear in mind with the symbolism of this card is that swords represent thoughts. They can, and thoughts can be beliefs, right? So a lot of times the Seven of Swords can mean that there's kind of a delicate situation going on, and especially with the Two of Pentacles there's some kind of situation going on that, the other thing with Pentacles, it means in the physical world. It means belongings or possessions. So what it's kind of telling me is, I think you're in some kind of situation where you have to balance two things. You might have two fiscal responsibilities or just two responsibilities in the physical world. And it's really giving you a lot of ups and downs. You kind of want to bring it down to one, but I think by bringing it down to one pentacle, by putting the one pentacle down, I think you know which responsibility you want to surrender. I think you know which responsibility you want to let go of and give up, but I think that responsibility is going to involve some delicate and a little bit of sneaky behavior. You're gonna have to, this is somebody who is going after his own interests. And that's the other meaning of the Seven of Swords. Sometimes, and in its positive sense, because there are no bad cards in tarot, in its positive sense, the Seven of Swords means that you are putting your needs first. You are putting your thoughts first. So a lot of times when you see the Seven of Swords, usually like, I kind of think in a good context, I think of it as being like, you're not taking on any more responsibility. You're saying no, right? If someone comes up and says, say you have too much going on, you're overwhelmed, and someone says, hey, can you come walk my dog this weekend? You're just like, no, I need to walk away with these swords. I can't. But the thing is, the inherent nature of this card, though, is that you are doing it in a clandestine way. You're not coming up to you're not telling the other pentacle to its face, hey, I don't want to do this anymore. You're kind of looking for an opportunity to take your thoughts and walk away while this person or situation is distracted. So I will caution you with this, because this is a very dual card. And the odd number cards are always dual, because when you think of 7, it's 3 and then 1 and then 3. So it's almost a little bit like Russian roulette. It really is. You're taking a chance of getting caught. Either that, or you are in a situation that requires delicacy. And you might, all I will say is that whatever situation, if you are looking to put one of these pentacles down, and this situation requires, some situations do require for you to be a little bit clandestine. There are some situations where you might need to sneak away. But I will just say that there's the one pitfall of this card is that this guy can get caught, right? Actually, in the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith, it does look like, it looks in the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith that it looks like the soldiers have been alerted and are about to come after his happy butt, they're about to catch him. So just bear that in mind, whatever situation you're dealing with. This situation might require you to put your needs first. It might be a situation that you can't go to the person and say, look, I don't want to do this anymore. But I'm gonna trust that you know what this situation pertains, and that the reason why you need to put your interests first and be a little bit not straightforward about it, a little clandestine about it. But just know that there is, just to caution you, that card does mean that you're taking a gamble, right? It is a little bit of, it is, risking, you getting, because the other side of this too is that if it is a situation that you sneak away, if you get caught, or if the person calls you on it, it will be very public and it will be almost embarrassing. That's the one side effect of the Seven of Swords, and that's just to caution you because that is inherent of what the card means. Now, moving forward towards the end of your week, you got the Three of Wands and we got the Six of Swords as clarification. And here you got the two deer and you got the one looking out at the future, and then you got the couple and the child in the boat going to safer shores. So yeah, I'm definitely getting a vibe like this is a situation, guys. I think there's some kind of situation where you've had to juggle. You're not happy with that. It's taking some kind of resources from you in the physical world. It could be a housing situation. It could be a money situation. It could be responsibilities at work. But you're going the route of needing to kind of quietly move away from it, and you're not being real direct with the person or the party that you are walking away from. So there's, again, that 50-50 risk. But what you want, or what you're going to have actually by the end of the week, is you're going to be looking towards the future. You're going to be, the Three of Wands is the decision has been made. You see with the Two of Wands, it's a choice. And now you've kind of graduated onto the Three of Wands. So the choice has been made, and now you are looking out over the ledge. And the fact that you have the other person, I really think that this is the pentacle that you chose. If it is a person, or this person or the situation that you chose is kind of guarding you or watching your back while you look ahead to discern how to move forward, right? So I really do think that that's actually a very positive sign, guys. But the only thing that I can say is that if you did kind of have to sneak away in order to get to that hill that's going to, let you walk to the future, you might have to watch your back a little bit. Again, you know your situation better than anyone. There's no judgment here. But, if you did have to walk away from a situation and do it kind of quietly, and then this new horizon, you're forging, you're walking forward, and you do look like you either have a situation or, the situation that you chose or the party you chose is there with you. And you're going to be moving on to calmer waters. Now, the beauty of this card is that it's very slow motion. It's very easy motion, but you are steadily leaving the choppy waters and you're going to that castle on the other side, right? It almost looks like a church. It looks like a sanctuary. Now, the overarching energy that we got is we got the cell, and you got it in red. So that's the little bit, and again, I won't call it a negative manifestation. It's the almost like the inverse of it. Let me go ahead and read it. This is always this deck is very, here we go. The red cell warns of a period of severe limitation. Be patient and seek a way out. So yeah, guys, I really do think that you're trying to leave a situation that you feel stuck in. And I feel like it is a delicate situation. I think it's a situation that requires, it's almost like you're afraid of some kind of repercussion if you come out and flatly tell whatever is making you feel trapped. But it does say go slowly, which is actually perfect, because the Three of Wands is not, Wands is action, but it's not a real fast card. And the Six of Swords is slow and steady change to something better. So I do think by the end of the week, you're going to kind of feel this transition. You're going to feel like you're moving towards new horizons. And I think that's going to be very positive for you. But I will just say, yeah, again, I know I've been, reiterating it, watch that Seven of Swords, because it really does look like, whatever you're moving towards, you might need to kind of watch your back a little bit. But again, you would know your situation better if you feel like, them coming after you is warranted because of some kind of commitment you had. I know that you will use the best judgment. I know you probably feel a little bit trapped, but yeah, I would just take kind of quiet, steps. But definitely if there's any situation that requires you to kind of be very direct, but that's your week. That's pretty interesting, guys. Please tell me if any of this resonates. I get a lot of energies when I go through and read the cards. All right, so deck number two. Deck number two, what kind of energy do you have this week? And what is the energy? Oh, thank you. For the middle of the week. Oh, wow, guys. And for the end of the week. Okay, please clarify. Thank you. Okay. All right, guys, we seriously. Oh, I'm kind of liking the way these cards look against the red background. Sorry, Libra moment. So please clarify our week. What is the theme? Wow, you saw that, right? That popped right out. All right, guys, we have a little bit of a week. I don't know if we're having kind of a rough Valentine's Day, because the next week is going to be a little bit of a thing. In the beginning of your week, you got the Knave of Cups, which is the Page of Cups, and you got the Nine of Swords. So what that is the Page of Cups is it's a very innocent kind of energy. It's very childlike. So in the beginning of the week, this could be you worrying about a child, particularly a water sign child or a child that's very sensitive and very kind. Or if this is you, this could be you worrying about like a situation where you wanted to offer your heart, but you're not quite sure how to do it. Like it's almost as if you really want to speak your truth, but you tell somebody about your emotions, but you're feeling very childlike with it. It's almost you're almost really shy or just hesitant to kind of, you don't know how to bring these emotions to the forefront. You don't know how to bring your emotions, and it's causing you a lot of anxiety. The Nine of Swords is definitely that keeping you up at night kind of energy. So again, you might have a situation that involves a child that has you very concerned. Either that, or there's some kind of situation where you really want to express your emotions, but you're really blocked. You don't know how. And, it's keeping you up at night thinking about how you're going to do this, how you're going to go ahead and either, the other interpretation that I have of this is that maybe if you are kind of going through a real emotional spell where you might be working through a lot of childhood emotions, like really trauma from childhood. Maybe, you have a hard time trusting others, and, or there's a situation that's kind of pushing you to make some kind of emotional expression, and that's hard for you. I would just say, definitely be gentle with yourself. You don't let any situation push you to do anything you're not ready to do. The beautiful thing about the Page of Cups is that they are the novice, they are the learners, it's okay to you don't have to be perfect at it right out of the gate, right? Start small, but I definitely see that there's going to be some kind of expression of emotion, or some kind of something that you're some kind of worry that you have, either over a child or over you're expressing your emotions, that's really going to have you. I would say definitely be kind to yourself at the beginning of the week. If you're having trouble sleeping or you just can't turn your mind off, try to do a few relaxation techniques. I will just say that, there's been a few nights that I really just can't sleep, and don't push it. If it's been more than 20 minutes and you really can't turn your mind off, you might want to get out of bed and just kind of move around a little bit, maybe get a glass of milk, a glass of warm water, read a little bit, and then get back to bed and try again. But I definitely get the feeling as if maybe you're working through some kind of, deep-seated emotion that just really makes you feel very vulnerable when you get the Page of Cups. And when it's paired with something like Swords, you're really agonizing in your head about how to express your emotions, and you feel like the emotions that you're expressing is not enough. But don't push yourself. It's okay. Maybe you have a situation that is making you feel very vulnerable, and that's not a comfortable emotion for you. So you don't want to force yourself to do anything. Just try to work through it. Work through it like a child. It's okay. You don't, when I notice that when I work through emotional things, it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to be a King of Cups tomorrow, right? Start off as the Page. That is okay. Now, by the middle of the week, you got the 10 of Wands, and that is, I just feel like you're going to feel very burdened. You're going to be really weighed down. This is more an action card, but I usually kind of view that as taking on too many responsibilities. I think that maybe you have some kind of situation going on where you really needed to express yourself, but you just have so much going on in your life that you don't have time to deal with this right now, but it is a looming concern. So I definitely, again, at the beginning of the week, you're going to have a lot of anxiety. By the middle of the week, you're just going to be kind of bogged down with physical activity. Maybe you have a lot of errands to run, or you're just taking on a lot of responsibilities at work. So by Wednesday, Thursday, you're definitely going to be feeling that slump, that hump day, Wednesday, feeling like, oh gosh, is it the weekend yet? Kind of feeling. So again, I would just say be easy on yourself, because I don't think you're going to be getting a whole lot of rest. And then by the middle of the week, you're going to be pretty physically, and you're going to be taking on a little bit too much and a little overexerted. So, but by the end of the week, you got the Ace of Wands, and underneath it, you got the Page of Cups. And the Ace of Wands is a really beautiful energy. I always refer to it as the spark. The Ace of Wands is the start of something. It's the beginning. It's kind of like, I always feel like anytime, you ever have it where you find a new hobby, like right that moment when you discover something new that you really like a lot, and you're like, ooh, and you get excited about it, right? I kind of feel like that's the Ace of Wands. I feel like you're getting excited about something. Something is really sparking you. But this can also be physical passion. So, and again, you can be a man or a woman watching this, but it could mean that somebody has a lot of physical passion towards you or you towards someone else. But the clarifier for this is the Five of Cups. So I'm definitely getting a vibe as if there's a little bit of longing here. You might be really, it's kind of twofold. It can mean one of two things, and I'm sorry to keep giving you two interpretations, but just take whatever resonates. Anything that doesn't resonate, you don't have to take. This can either be that you're really physically longing, especially if you're a man. You could be physically longing for someone that you might have had a falling out with. The Five of Cups is that morning, it's feeling regret. And so by the end of the week, you might be feeling like this great passion or this great attraction towards someone, but this person might not be available because you had some kind of falling out and you're mourning over that relationship. Now, the other side of the coin, and again, this can be for man or woman, could be that maybe you had a falling out in the past, and that might be part of this anxiety, the feeling really bogged down. I'm getting kind of a vibe like you're really up in your mind. You're up in your mind about emotions, about how you express emotions, about how you would bring a message of love to someone. And then by the middle of the week, you just seem to be kind of almost preoccupied with work or whatever is physically distracting you. So you're almost working to a point to exhaust yourself so you don't have to think about this. It's funny, I always refer to that as real work. I refer to that as work Ritalin. And I'm sorry to use that kind of technical term. You know that if somebody has attention deficit disorder, they take Ritalin, and what Ritalin does is it revs you up. So it's funny, a person who has attention deficit disorder is naturally overly hyper. Then if you hype them up even more, it almost counteracts. It's almost like, two Tasmanian devils going, and what it does is it wears you out. It wears the person out. It revs up an already revved up person to the point that it exhausts them, and then they can rest. Then they chill, right? Which is the desired effect. So I kind of sometimes see the Ten of Wands like that, especially if it's around this. You could be throwing yourself into work so you can get that Ritalin effect. You're revved up mentally, and instead of staying in the hamster wheel, you're trying to distract yourself, and then you're working harder, and then you're just getting so exhausted that you poop out, and then you're like, all right, I'm not thinking about anything because I'm just flat on my face, right? And by the end of the week, what I see that you're either starting new projects because you are getting over something that you're mourning. It's emotional. You're mourning something emotionally, and you're kind of getting a new spark. Like you're taking that emotion and you're putting that energy towards something new and exciting. You're getting over this by starting something new, right? Either that, or you could read it as you are very physically attracted, still very passionate about something that you were previously mourning. And I know that sounds like a strange definition, but usually that kind of reads to me as longing. It's longing for someone. Maybe I don't know if you've had a breakup with someone and then you're seeing this person and you're just longing for them. It's lighting your flame, but you can't go after that. I am going to go ahead and just pull one more card. I'm just curious. I want a little bit of clarification. Okay, so please let us know. Okay. The way that this flipped and it came at a diagonal there and it wanted to come in this thing, you got the Emperor. You got the Emperor crossing the Nine of Swords and the Page of Cups. So you're reining in your emotions. You're keeping a very, very cool exterior because you want to retain and control. So that being the answer to this, okay, thank you. That explains it. What I'm seeing here is I'm seeing that Yeah, you're putting up a very big front. It does feel relationship related, guys. I'm just going to read it like I see it. I think that you've had some kind of falling out with someone that you're very, very attracted to. It might have been, the falling out might have been because you weren't real expressive. You were kind of, the Emperor energy is very controlled. He does not break down. He doesn't cave. Things go his way. He does not go the way other people want him to go. Other people go his way, right? It's his way or the highway. And the fact that it came at a diagonal to the Page of Cups is that I really get this feeling as if you're afraid to show your emotions because you don't want to be seen as weak. Either that, or you're afraid that there's going to be an outflowing, like the dam will break. If you try to express these emotions, it's going to be too much for you, right? And so here, I do see that, yeah, this does kind of feel like by the end of the week, I do think that you can use the fuel of this situation to start something new. Maybe you can try to restart what has failed. Either that, or you can take the lessons of this failure and really begin anew on your own. But I do think that you are holding a flame there. I am getting a feeling of holding a torch is what I keep hearing, holding a torch. So I do think that you still feel strongly for someone that you've repressed emotions about, that you haven't shown emotions, but you're afraid to show those emotions. Either that, or you just want to show, if you do show emotions, you show it physically, you don't show it emotionally, you keep it, I'll be honest, it could be a sex only thing. Just because you feel safer with it being that way. You're not comfortable with sharing your emotions. But I do think that you could either fix a broken relationship, or you can take the lessons from that relationship and start anew on your own, or start a project, or pour that energy into something positive. Now, what you got for your oracle card is you got the shadow and you got the red shadow. So let me go ahead and we'll read it. Okay, sorry guys, let me get my book here. My handy dandy pamphlet. Okay, the red shadow. The red shadow warns, can you see? The red shadow warns of something unknown and scary, which may be fear itself. Face your fear with caution and seek the light. See, guys, I think, yeah, oh my gosh, tell me that does not sum up this reading, y'all. I do. I think you're afraid. I think you're afraid of letting that Page of Cups out, right? I think there's a part of you that's very sensitive, it's very kind, it's very nurturing, and I don't know if maybe you've been hurt in the past, or maybe there was some kind of childhood wounding. It could have been a betrayal, but you are definitely in your Emperor energy. Your Emperor energy is blocking this page. It's not letting it out, right? And it's causing you all sorts of mental anxiety. And you could be a woman watching this. A woman can be in the Emperor energy. She can, us women can be as tough as can be. We don't want to, we don't want to seem weak. We don't want to come across as vulnerable sometimes. But what it's telling me is that the other thing about the wands is that it can be a breakthrough. It can be a breakthrough. But I do think that it's a little bit of a dual meaning. You can decide to salvage something that has been lost, but it will require that you let that Page of Cups out. It doesn't have to be a perfect expression, but I think it is also telling you begin internally. You know, you don't have to make this a real world man. You don't have to go out in the world and be vulnerable yet. You can kind of go through a few test runs in your head, but honestly, you're trapped in your head right now. You're trapped in your head, and what it's telling you is you're terribly afraid. You're afraid. You're terrified to to let this cups, and look at it. Look at the sweet expression on this page's face, guys. This is you. This is your emotions inside. He just wants to hand that cup to someone. And he wants to do it. Look how honest his eyes are, right? But your inner emperor is just telling you that it's not safe to do that. But and I'm not saying that, you know, trust your instinct. I'm not saying don't trust your instinct, but just acknowledge how much of that control is coming from fear. If it's sourcing from fear, you might have some inner work that you need to do. But I do think that these fears, this not letting yourself be vulnerable, has caused you heartache. It's caused you heartache. It's caused you to lose relationships that could have been very beneficial to you. So by the end of the week, and I know this is just a weekly energy, I'm sorry, it sounds so all-encompassing. By the end of the week, I do think that you're going to be feeling a little bit of breakthrough. But this is not the Ace of Cups, this is the Ace of Wands. So, you know, again, this could just be a lot of more passion. You know, the Emperor is a physical person, so, but I would just say, you know, try to have this breakthrough. The other thing about the Ace of Wands is that the wands, the entire wand suit are brave. This is a brave card. This means not being afraid of anything. So, you know, do your best to try to face your fear. Try to accept this page, or try to work through. I know that's easier said than done. But you know, by the end of the week, I think you're going to have a better understanding of how this energy has blocked you in the past, and you might have a chance at a new beginning, you know, that actually lets you be yourself, it lets you express that emotion. All right, guys. Wow, we've got a powerhouse week going on here. Not gonna lie, that's pretty wild. All right, so we got deck number 3, which is the Jane Austen Tarot. It is or the Tarot of Jane Austen. It's so appropriate being the day after Valentine's Day, right? Get a love deck in here. Got the star in the bottom of the deck. That's excellent energy. And then it's great. I always pair it with my little double pearl, which I got this at the beach, and it's such a great stone. But it's a freshwater pearl, but it has 2 little kind of nodes to it. So I always think of it like a little my little lover pearls. All right, let's breathe. Deck number 3. What is the energy for your week? Ooh. Okay, I'm going to take that in the upside down. Ooh, thank you. Oh, wow, guys. End of the week. Oh, my gosh. Please clarify the Emperor. Oh, again, I've said it before. Sometimes I wonder if I have some cross watchers. Maybe it's a couple and one person is picking one pile. Either that, or it might just be the collective energy. Got the 2 of coins. Holy Toledo. So our common denominator might either be the Emperor or the 2 of coins, because that came up in the first pile. All right, Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and read both of these because they were kind of coming out together. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I'm not trying to show any favoritism. I don't normally give 2 cards, but if they come out, I have to read it like I see it. All right, so in the beginning of the week, we got the 8 of coins. We got it in the reverse. So the 8 of coins in reverse can really mean that I get the feeling like you're learning a lot. Like the 8 of coins upright is the learner. It's someone who's specializing in their craft. They're like almost like an apprentice. They're becoming a specialist at something. But the 8 of coins in reverse means that type of energy is either blocked or you're coming out of that energy. So I think by the beginning of the week, and again, we are going into the beginning of the week is when the Mercury goes retrograde. Excuse me. Sorry, hiccup. So Monday is a holiday. Monday is a holiday in the United States. It's President's Day. So I'm kind of reading that one of two ways. Maybe because it's a holiday, if you have the day off from work, you could be doing nothing. I'm really kind of getting a vibe like you might either be choosing to do nothing, like really to not specialize in anything. It might be like an easygoing day. The other vibe that I get from that is I really get the feeling as if because it is the first day of Mercury retrograde, I think that you might be fixing problems that occurred or are just not going right. Because again, you know, the Eight of Coins is someone who is perfecting something, right? They're learning, they're doing everything well, right? But when you have it in reverse, it means things are not going well. So I really think I'm getting kind of a damage control kind of vibe. I think you might either have some errands, or I'm really kind of getting a feeling like your schedule. The fact I also take the art into consideration. In this card, it's Anne Elliot, and what she's doing is she's doing all of the kind things that she does for other people. She's balancing the checkbook, she's caring for a baby, she's visiting her friends, she's playing the pianoforte, she's reading, she's sewing, writing. And when you see this upside down, I have a feeling that this is your schedule and your schedule got turned on its head. So I really get the feeling, and from personal firsthand experience, Mercury retrograde, communications get all screwed up. I'm telling you, phone lines go down, cable goes out, Wi-Fi routers won't work, a lot of miscommunications. And the problem with miscommunications is that it usually requires about 5 phone calls and a loss of sanity to get it all fixed. So by the beginning of the week, I think your apple cart, your schedule, your day planner, your might get a little upturned because of miscommunications. So I would say that if you do get a chance, I would try to free up your schedule now. Try to keep gaps in between, because even if you don't see anything now that's going to happen at the beginning of the week, I would give it a very wide berth, because there might be miscommunications, or you might need more time to straighten out crap. Now, the other thing that's great about a Mercury retrograde, and let me just throw that out there, is that on the other side of that, anything that begins with RE, you know, return, you know, revamp, you know, refund, if there has been a problem that you've had for a long time, like I'll tell you, Mercury retrogrades are excellent for fixing that god-awful computer problem that's been plaguing you for 2 years. I also noticed that on Mercury retrogrades, I tend to come across the item that I lost like 3 years ago. The thing that you couldn't find and you thought that you would never find seems to resurface. There we go, RE again. So if there's something that, it's basically not a good time to start new projects, but it's a good time to fix old issues that have not been resolved. And there we go, RE again, resolved. You can kind of revisit old problems. But if you do not have any old problems that you can fix, I would just leave gaps in your schedule, because there might be times that things get turned, you know, miscommunications are going to happen, and you might need a little bit extra time to make that phone call, you know, to iron out the problem. So just make aware of that. And I think something will affect you like that at the beginning of the week, the first couple of days. By the middle of the week, you got the Lord of Candlesticks, which is the King of Wands. And I love the King of Wands in this deck. This is Frederick Wentworth. And I'm sorry, I love me some persuasion. Sorry, hashtag lit nerd. And then you got the Eight of Cups. So I'll be honest, this does look like a person. It looks like a person. I think by the middle of the week, you're either going to be in your King of Wands energy, and again, you can be a man or a woman watching this reading. You're going to be in either a really fiery energy, and you're going to be walking away or moving away from a situation. Now, the thing about the Eight of Cups, it doesn't mean that you're leaving forever, but sometimes it can. But I know that's confusing. I'm sorry. Let me phrase that a better way. The Eight of Cups is moving away from a situation. Now, the fact that you got the King of Candlesticks, and I take the artwork, the art of the deck speaks a lot to the meaning of the reading. You see that Frederick Wentworth is a captain in the Navy, right? And so he has to go on a journey, right? So if you're a man watching this reading, or in the masculine energy, there might be an assignment. And again, the fact that he's a soldier, he's a naval officer, there might be something that you have to go and do that is a journey that you're excited about, but it is going to take you away from someone or something. And it does make you sad. It does upset you because you have to go away from, it really feels like a person. Now, if you're a woman watching this reading, you might be moving away from, you might be emotionally walking away from a very fiery and dynamic character. And the thing is, you might be leaving because he has other things preoccupying him right now. He's clearly about to embark on a journey, right? So you might be kind of having to move away, and again, the cups are emotions. You might have to move away emotionally for the right reasons. There definitely just kind of feels like there's this energy of someone being on a mission. And again, this person doesn't really look like, he looks determined, but he doesn't look like thrilled or ecstatic. It's not like he's happy that, The other thing that I see about this is that he really looks like he is looking at the carriage as it's moving away. So I do think that maybe, I don't know if maybe you have, if you're a woman, and you might have a boyfriend that might, maybe they really are in the military and they have to go away on deployment, or whatever it is that emotionally, and the other thing is, you do see in the background, you see the ships, you see how there are the bows of ships, and it looks like she's moving away. So yeah, I do kind of think that, I get this feeling like you understand the reason why, and it does, it hurts, but you are kind of moving away from a situation or from a person that has other things to do right now. And you understand the reasons, and it doesn't make either of you happy. But again, I am getting a strong vibe like this moving away is for a good reason. Sometimes in life, when you kind of gravitate away from someone, it isn't forever. Sometimes you do gravitate back. But I know that separation, that space really does test. It tests you. But I am kind of getting a vibe like, these two people really do want to be with one another. But I'm getting a strong vibe as if they're both doing what they need to do right now. They're both doing, so you're doing what you need to do right now. Whether that's, doing your duty, maybe you've got an assignment at work that's just really going to keep you preoccupied. So you're doing your duty, you're going on a journey. The other thing is ships are journeys. Either that or, if you are in the carriage in this situation, it does make you sad, but you do know that it's the best thing for you to pull away right now. Sometimes emotions need space to heal. And, walking away or pulling away from something that you invested in is sometimes for the best. I know it doesn't feel very good, but I do just get a strong energy is that whichever party you are in this situation, there's a lot of love here, and you both are doing what you need to do for the right reasons. Now, and I know that's a powerhouse for the middle of the week, for just a weekly energy. But by the end of the week, you got the Emperor, and again, I think between either the Two of Pentacles or the Emperor is our common denominator cards, and you got Justice. So I have a feeling I really am getting a strong vibe as if towards the middle of the week, you really are, I think you're making it physically known that you are walking away from someone. And I think that person, I'm really getting a vibe, I think that person is standing in an Emperor energy. They're being really tough. The Emperor energy is really standing in your power. It's saying, look, this is the way things are going to go, right? This is the way things are going to go. And I do think the fact that this Justice card has a letter, I do think that there's going to be some kind of communication. There's going to be some kind of communication by the end of the week. I really get the vibe that you, the viewer, are going to be on the receiving end. I don't get the feeling that you're writing this letter. I think that the Emperor, whomever is in the Emperor energy, is going to be sending you some type of communication. It might be a text message, it might be an email, carrier pigeon, whatever, that explains. Because the thing about justice is that justice is clearing the air, right? It's judging the facts of the situation for what they are, right? So I do think that someone is being very stubborn. I do think that someone's being stubborn. I really feel like it might be this King of Candlesticks, or this Lord of Candlesticks. I think he's really kind of hunkering down. He's like, look, I got to do this. I'm going to do this, but this is why I'm going to do this. And you're not going to judge me. I'm going to tell you what this is about, right? I am getting a little bit of a dogmatic vibe, but the reason I'm giggling is because he's really just going to be kind of like, okay, let me tell you how it is. Let me tell you what the truth is. And it's going to be, I think this justice is going to make you feel better about the situation. It's either going to clarify, why this had to happen, why this distance is needed. And I do think that it's going to give you a little bit of peace. It's going to give you a sense of closure. And I think you're just going to understand this Emperor character a little bit better. It's not going to change his mind. The Emperor doesn't change his mind unless he wants to. It's his way. When it comes to the Emperor, we are just a squirrel in the Emperor's world. We are a squirrel in his world. He does what he pleases when he wants to, and no one tells him what to do. But I think the very fact that he would explain, that this person would communicate to you why, is actually kind of an act of kindness on his part, because he's the Emperor. He doesn't have to tell anybody anything. But I think that this person does want you to understand, or he wants there to be a fairness in the understanding of why this is happening, and then he's going to stick to his decision, right? So for the Oracle cards, is you got the Sun, which is a really great card. You got the positive Sun, and you got the red wife. You got the wife that's in the red. And I'm going to go ahead and read the red wife first, because that one's a good one. The red wife warns, let me see, can you see? Okay, the red wife warns, let's try saying that fast. The red wife warns that someone is giving too much, being trapped in petty cares and worries. So you see, this is like a wife character, right? I'm almost getting a vibe as if, maybe, again, it says someone's giving too much, right? It's like, hey, let me do this for you. Hey, let me iron your shirt. Hey, let me do, and sometimes it's too much, right? It's not even, it's not reciprocal, right? So when you look at the Sun, and again, the fact that these two are next to each other, you can read the energies together. The Sun represents new beginnings, hope, joy, energy, right? And that is the one thing about the Justice card that is very liberating. I did do a How to Tarot on Justice if you want it. I think actually this was one of the cards that I used as an example, so feel free to catch that if you want. But the thing about justice is that there is, justice is not biased. it's not going to say, oh, well, the emperor was all wrong and you were all right. No, the justice is the judge, right? It says, well, the emperor was doing A, B, C, D, and you were doing A, B, C, D. And I think the beauty of these two cards together, I think what it's telling you is that with this justice, with this walking away and this explanation, I think it's giving you freedom. It's giving you freedom. It's kind of saying, look, you were given a lot before, right? Yeah, sure, you might be shedding a tear because it is sad, you're in the carriage, you're moving away from that ship, but after the tears dry, and you kind of look at it, because when you think about it, she kind of look at the bow on her dress. Doesn't it look like the same woman? I just really think that you're gonna get the clarification that, yeah, okay, you know what, this is actually kind of liberating, right? This is joy. Hey, I can put the iron down. I can leave the kitchen. Instead of ironing in the kitchen, I can sit down and actually make myself some eggs. Let me make myself some eggs. Let me make myself a cup of coffee, So, I think it's really telling you that, the beautiful thing about justice is that it's clarifying what really happened, right? And how, I know it's so cliche, anytime you hear the saying, well, it wasn't you, it was me, right? And I know it makes you want to punch somebody in the face when you hear that, right? But it is kind of true. It doesn't have anything to do with you. What this person is out to do is their issues. It's their commitments. What this person is committing to is his problem, not yours, right? So sometimes by separating yourself, you're freeing yourself. It's saying, okay, look, I don't have to iron your shirts. I don't have to commit to that because, I can do my own thing, right? And that's the truth. That's the justice of the situation. Maybe there's justice in liberating you from the situation, right? And again, the sun in this deck is very similar to the sun in tarot. It's kind of like that child being on the horse. We just had a tarot on the sun, so you get a chance to watch that. But it's freedom. It's having that moment of uninhibited joy. So I do think that you might have a little bit of a bittersweet kind of feeling towards the middle of the week, but I think by the end of the week you might get some explanation. And that's really going to give you a sense of peace, and it's going to give you a sense of liberation. And I think it's really telling you to embrace that. And, it'll be a good weekend. It'll just be a good weekend. You might have a few heavy thoughts and feelings, but I don't think those feelings are going to linger long, and don't let them linger long, just let it go. And take care of yourself too. That's the other thing that I think of when I see the sun, self-care, put you first. All right, guys, so that was deck number 3. So, wow, guys, I think all 3 decks had a really good week. I know sometimes you see a little bit of tough cards, but there are no bad cards, and definitely, my positive thoughts are with you, and, it'll be okay. The new energy is never the new energy is never more than a day away. So just hang in there, and everything will be all right. But I thank you so much for joining me. I'm on this Valentine's Day weekend. I hope you did enjoy your Valentine's Day, whether you are in a couple or if you are a singleton. I always say, you celebrate the day the way you want to. It's just a greeting card holiday. So if you want to show love to your friends, to your family, to your coworkers, to yourself, you go ahead and do that. You rock it any way you want. I know some people will be celebrating it today instead of yesterday, so more power to you if you need to kind of make it a whole love weekend. And I hope you can join me back on Tuesday. We are going to be wrapping up the end of the Major Arcana. We only have 2 more Major Arcanas in the How to Tarot series, and I will be continuing on Tuesday with the second to last of that suit. I hope you can join me, and I'll see you then. Bye.